Once again, good evening to everyone and happy Ram Navami to everyone. Today, the topic is leading from the front, and Dr. Nagpal Singh, our academic director of HEMA Foundation, is also a renowned researcher in cognitive intelligence, will moderate the panel discussion today. And the flow is going to be that he'll be introducing everyone, the keynote speaker and the panelist. Thereafter, each one will be given their timings and they have to respect that timing which Dr. Nagpal Singh is going to share with us. Thereafter, they'll come together and we can agree, disagree, or have a deliberation on the subject. And in the end, Anita Maheshwari, our creative director, she's going to speak a little bit about the topic and connect it with our values. So that is how the whole thing is going to be. Thank you so much, Dr. Nagpal Singh. You can take over.
Thank you so much, Hetalji. Thank you so much. Such a brief and crisp layout presented by you. Anyway, मैं सबसे पहले शुरुआत वहीं से करता हूँ. आप सभी को रामनवमी की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. इतना बड़ा पर्व और इतना मधुर समय. At least we Indians would really always cherish this moment. And आज का टॉपिक बिल्कुल उनसे मिलता है, leading from the front. Anita ji has very smartly quoted 3 statements of him. Absolutely remarkable. I mean, jitna देखिए, archaeologically, seismographically, and planetologically, by all means, it has been proven that that man walked on the earth 13 millennia back, and he led from the front. He led from the front. Everything. You want to talk about a son, you want to talk about a husband, you want to talk about a brother, you want to talk about a king, you want to talk about a saint, you want to talk about public. He literally led from the front. I come from the branch of cognitive psychology, how people learn and how people carry information. In that sense also. आप देखिए, अगर जब वो when he started his exile, he was the one, he could have, seek help from any other kings. He was the son of a king. But rather than looking for the kings, he went for the one who were deprived, who were destitutes. जो पिछड़े थे, जो वंचित थे. साथ किनका लिया? आप you know it. It's a long story. So उस पर्व की मैं आपको हेमा फाउंडेशन की तरफ से, हेमा मंथन की तरफ से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ. मैं आगे चलता हूँ इस टॉपिक को लेकर. हम सबको लीडिंग फ्रॉम द फ्रंट is a name which is known as Mahendra Bhai Kabra. He is the one who is the carryover of this entire value education journey. Recently, he experienced kind of some demise in his family, so he might not be available today, but we always cherish his memories. Followed by Anita ji Maheshwari. She is trustee, managing director, she's a creative director and a beautiful brain. And nowadays, she had been a budding poet, and I think she's been a poetess, and now she's doing some good work in psychology and parenting and the children's. I give you Anita ji Maheshwari.
धन्यवाद नागपाल जी. और हेमा फाउंडेशन के इस हेम मंथन, यानी कि मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि वैचारिक मंथन, और जब विचारों का मंथन होता है तो कुछ ना कुछ अमृत जरूर निकलता है. तो इस वैचारिक मंथन में आप सभी पैनलिस्ट का और जो भी हमारे इनवाइटीज हैं, कीनोट स्पीकर्स हैं, उन सभी का स्वागत और हार्दिक अभिनंदन.
Thank you so much. Dr. Chinu Agarwal will be joining us afterwards, but it's my privilege to introduce her. I could use lots of adjectives with her name. She is most renowned and very great psychologist who's been always occupied with teaching the teachers. A great name, TEDx speaker, and has done a great deal of work in field of psychology. We, HEMA Foundation, Hey Manthan, and we are all privileged to have her with us. Whenever she'll come, we'll be connecting with her. Then we have Dr. Ravi Vijay, whom fondly and lovingly Anita ji always addresses as Amma, and a great educationist, got a plethora of experience of around 40 years, and I've been doing great work in integrating the subjects and values and and a person who always appears to be battling with everything and winning over everything, and a very, very fine mind. I welcome Dr. Ravi.
Thank you so much. Welcome to all of you.
नागपाल जी, आपको करेक्ट करूंगी कि हम सिर्फ विजय मैम को अम्मा एड्रेस नहीं करते हैं, एक्चुअली उन्हें मानते हैं। तो शी इज आवर अम्मा।
Thank you.
Anyway, but for me, I would always cherish taking her as an educator. We have Rajiv Ji Bhargava, a wonderful mind, and who comes from Vijplani, had done a great work in international corporate arena, had been associated with our globals, and nowadays AIM Sampak. Such a wonderful work is involved in. Every day he's coming up with a capsule of knowledge that really incorporates your demonic. I welcome Rajiv Bhargava.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone to Manthan.
Thank you so much, Rajiv Ji. Then we have Ketal Desai. She is she's a backbone of all those coordinations we are having. She's an associate director with the Prima Foundation, looks after all behind the curtain activities, fueling us to remain active. Madam Hetal Desai.
Thank you, Nagpal ji, and welcome once again to everybody.
Thank you so much, Hetal. Then I was really delighted to have Shipraji. Shipraji Kabra was also there. She is a member of Hema Foundation family. I think she's not here now, but I welcome Shipraji. Lots of welcome of this session. Thank you so much. Now I'll come on the small introduction of such a great minds, august minds, and the great minds are going to literally get illuminated in today's session, leading from the front. So I'll start with today's keynote speaker, Madam Archana Gaba. I especially liked that she's 18 kilometers away from the India-Pakistan border. She is a Chief Learning Officer of Saint Kabir Group, Jalalabad, premium yet affordable school. An educationist who's got more than decades of experience, a trained NLP practitioner, a master therapist. I hope that digitally does not happen, ma'am. Then we have, she has covered extensively world education system. She is an alumnus of Ahmedabad and the University of Columbia. Manthan, Hema Foundation, and all the audience who are listening here today are privileged. हम आपका तहे दिल से स्वागत करते हैं. आपका बहुत
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Sunita Singh, she is a principal of Mount Literacy School, Ahmedabad, and a resourceful educational professional with a proven ability of 28 years. He has undertaken lots of certifications on multiple international schools to help students learn, and guidance and counseling. He's been associated with various prestigious schools in the past. Madam Hema Foundation, Manthan is really gratified to have you here on this platform. We welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Then we have Madam Leena Nair. She is principal of New Era Senior Secondary School, Gujarat. If I have to introduce out the paper, then it will be a prolific speaker, a very good intellectual talking machine, and a wonderful brain that really brings lots of things together without even giving a second thought. Anyway, he's an educator of 25 years of experience, school committee member of Gujarat, Vadodara, and former vice president of Sahodaya School Complex, South Gujarat, and a master trainer and resource person for CBSE. Once again, you are illuminating this platform, and we welcome you again.
Thank you so much.
Now I'll move towards Madam Sonal Patelkar, the managing trustee and secretary of Premier Shikshan Mandal. He is a human resource management consultant, capacity building specialist, coach, trainer, and educator. Over the last 20 years, he has worked in schools, healthcare sector, and hospitality industry, and in a vocational education for K-12, K-12 education. हम आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करते हैं मैम.
Thank you.
Then I'm having Madam Vaishali Shevale. She's the principal of St. Gregorius Public and Junior College. She has contributed to the field of education significantly for the last 23 years. She enjoys experimenting along with students the new methods of sustainable development of science. Beautiful. Science and technology like microgreen, hydroponics, my goodness, and ambulance elevator project. We are really delighted to have you, ma'am, on this platform, and we look forward to have a great session with you.
Thank you so much.
So this is a brief introduction of our panelists and all the members we are having today. Now let me take you towards today's topic. As Hetal ma'am has already described, our keynote speaker will have around 8 to 9 minutes, and then all the panelists will have 4 to 5 minutes, depending upon our time. Then we can have an open brainstorming session. Afterwards, Madam Anita would conclude it. And if you want my opinion of leading from the front, then it is something very, very important in today's time. We are literally reeling under a very hazardous time. Everybody has to lead from the front, your colony, your house, your city, overall your country. So we need people who can lead us in the right direction. If you take the human history, uh, I'll not go long back, but from the industrialization, whenever it has started from, दो तीन चीजें साथ में चली हैं. Epicureanism, we call ourselves a global world today because of digital inventions, but we are very much divided. Today, this world, humanity, this society needs people who can really get us together. We need exemplary people. We have come from a country, we come from a soil that has produced people who literally led from the front. If I talk about Swami Vivekananda, if I talk about Mahatma Gandhi, if I talk about Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, MS Swaminathan, the first Prime Minister, all the current leaders, everybody has led from the front and literally has brought us, this humanity, at the place we are living in such a wonderful bird. But to protect it further, there are many things which are really undesirable happening in today's world. If I start counting, environmental degradation is there, social degradation is there, disintegration of our values is there, secessionism, regionalism, terrorism, corruption, and these all things are literally creeping in our society and literally forcing us to think it over whether this industrialization, whether this so-called development was really desirous, was really we wanted as it should be. Will it really protect our future, or is it the remedy for the human which are going to live on this earth or which are living on this earth? So I open this platform and I invite our today's keynote speaker to have her opinion that how can we build this character starting from our educational institutes to the society, and really we can we can sustain this human generation which is under the threat of Holocene. Holocene is the word which defines the next endanger that humanity is going to face, is going to come by the produced by humans. So how we can literally dream a beautiful life ahead, and how we can instill, how we can how we can generate those values amongst our society, amongst our children, that they can lead from the front. I invite Madam Archana Gaba to have her opinions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nagpal and Ms. Hetal, and my ever dear friend and inspiration, Ms. Chino Agarwal. It's really a pleasure to be here on this platform. I'm sure I am audible to everybody, but still I just want to, somebody to tell me that you all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, perfect. So first of all, as sir, you mentioned yourself and earlier Anita ji, that no day can be better to talk about leading from the front than this day, which is a very auspicious day, Ram Navami day. And Bhagwan Ram has been the epitome of, I would say, leadership, not only religious or spiritual, but even the political leadership. He has been the symbol for ideal political leadership, to the extent that whenever we say that these are the ideal political conditions in any state, that state is called Ram Rajya. So of course there can't be a day better than this to talk about leadership. I have a little issue with the title leading from the front. I'm sure Hetal will remember the first conversation we had around it, because my experience as a leader and the leaders that I have studied, including Bhagwan Ram's journey and life, what I have noticed is that one who is supposed to lead, who decides to lead, cannot choose a place, cannot choose a vantage point for herself or himself to stand. That person has to be everywhere. Sometimes you lead from front when you become example, when you learn how to perfect the process and then you teach your team. Sometimes you have to lead from behind by empowering your team to go in the field, giving them the freedom and the support to make mistakes and learn from these, giving them the freedom to take initiatives and be creative in their approach, and you just tell them that main hu na, so go ahead and do. So then you are leading from behind. And sometimes you have to lead, say, from right or left, and so many times from space also, like you are not there but still you are there, your presence is there guiding your team. That is the kind of leadership which is required in this 21st century. First, because of this technological advancement, and the other reason is the time, the crisis, the chaos that we all are passing through as a global village. I would say the whole world is passing through this COVID situation, which is a crisis, a chaos for each one of us, and is a scary situation. So we need leaders, more than any other time now, the leaders who can have the courage and at the same time the values to lead. Great leadership has to be grounded in ethics and integrity. First of all, that I would say is the starting point of leadership. Unless until you are fair, you can never be at the right place from where you can influence people, team, thoughts, ideas. Because leadership is not about, just taking people with you. Leadership is about, showing them where they have to reach and giving them a vision, and then, molding that vision along with the journey, and then at the same time adapting our team to whatever they're going to face. So I believe it all starts from being fair. Next step on this journey, I would say, is building trust. It happens that people are really very, positive and very, very exuberant when they start, and they're very active, and so is the leader. But when the journey starts getting tough, if at that time your team starts, getting scared or smaller, that is the time when you have to leave your fears aside and be that rock for them. So to build that kind of trust, first we have to, let go of our fears and take the plunge for which which we chose to do in the beginning itself. We can't, afford changing ways in between when we already have a huge team behind us, as is the scenario in many schools these days, unfortunately, because that is the ecosystem I come from. Because if there is crisis and the school leader chooses, or the management chooses, that they don't want to lead, they just want to see what happens, dekhi jayegi attitude, that is the worst time and the worst place to take such a decision at this time, because that will kill all the trust that you have earned all through this journey so far. Next step, I would say, is making sure that everyone comes along in whichever capacity they come. Those who can run, let us make them run. Those who can walk, let them walk. Those who want to come with you but are neither in a position of running or walking, let us think of some solution for them also, so that they can be left behind, but they should not be made to feel left out, because that again is the litmus test of a great leadership, I would say. After that, the next is empowering your team, which of course is a place from where you lead from behind. And empowering means empower them to encourage innovation and then reward those innovations. These are a few steps, and now I'll explain in very small way and in very little time. I'll just try to give briefly this concept, that there have been many concepts of leadership, many types of leadership, really very famous. There has been a lot of research on leadership. We have, democratic leadership, authoritative leadership, situational, transactional, and so many kinds of leadership. But my belief is that this is the time for adaptive leadership. And I would encourage you all to read this book, a practical book on adaptive leadership by Ronald Heifetz. So adaptive leadership is where, generally what happens is whenever there is a challenge, a leader thinks that technology or the process needs to be worked upon. Okay, so that's why we start working on technology and process. So most of us, especially in school scenario, and many times in companies also, we end up becoming, administrative officers. We do not become leaders in the true sense of the word, because we put all our focus on the processes. Okay, but what actually is required is to be focused on people. So adaptation is required not in process but in people. Even when the processes are to be changed or modified. For example, now that suddenly the schools and all the offices are going online, and the whole work, people are working from home, so definitely the processes have changed. If our focus is only on perfecting the process, that means we are losing sight of the fact that we need people to perfect the process, but those people are not perfect to begin with. So imperfect people start working to perfect processes first, and then perfect processes perfect these people in return. That is how it happens, to my understanding.
Thank you so
We
much.
cannot just work on one process. Next, and with this I would conclude. Why? Because here also I would like to lead the conversation rather than me being the only speaker and taking all the time. So with the next point that I want to say is that leadership has to be situational always, yes, but situational should not mean only transactional. कि मुझे आपसे ये काम लेना है और मुझे आपको इसके बदले में ये देना है. If you are doing that, again, you may be a bureaucrat, you may be an officer, but you are not a leader.
Small interjection. As you pointed out that the leadership has to be situational. Does it mean that we should keep on fine tuning our values also?
No. I'm coming to that only.
Okay.
We generally think that whenever we have to, compromise with some of the promises in terms of when we talk about political leaders, or we have to compromise with some of the, say, facilities, perks that we give in our companies, or, whenever we have to take a step back from whatever we have promised our people, Okay. Generally, we think that situations demand it. These are crisis periods. These are chaotic. So this is what we have to do. That would be situational. Second is transactional. When you say, "ठीक है, आपने इतना काम कर दिया, मैंने आपके बदले में ये कर दिया." My point is, when you are doing it as due to situation only, or as a way of transaction only, that again can be a pothole in which you are stepping in, because maybe you will get that work done, but that will be transaction. That will never lead to transformation.
Correct. I agree. I read that book, Adaptive Leader, and in fact, I bought an impression from it. It is expecting me to compromise with situations. That will be another part of discussion. But anyway, you have to take over from here on, because considering the limits of time, you've been fantastic.
Of course, just with one quote I would end, that the real leadership is about a team, and the real teamwork is when a pack, understands that their power is the wolf, but at the same time, the wolf also knows that his power is in the pack. That's leadership, everyone.
That's true. That's true. That's true. In fact, I remember a quote of our Sam Maneksha. He'd been always telling about leaderships, and he's taking the person who takes the responsibility, who, if he has the guts to take the responsibilities of his actions, that is what is the leadership. So thank you so much. It is wonderfully explained. The points you mentioned out, I specifically like the leader doesn't mean that who stands always ahead. That's a fantastic thing. I think we all must have to learn it. It's not the one who always stands ahead. It can be everywhere. That's a fantastic thing. I'll move on to, thank you so much. And probably in the further deliberations we'll be meeting. I would invite Dr. Sunita Singh to have her opinion about leading from the front. And we are having around 4 to 5 minutes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, 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 yes.
So once again, warm greetings of the day to everyone present in the webinar today. At the outset, I once again take this opportunity to congratulate HEMA Foundation for doing a great work of imparting cultural and moral education to the youth. I appreciate you all for organizing such informative series of webinars to create awareness among people on the various topic of concern. Today's topic, as it has begun, leading from the front. We are celebrating Ram Navami, and who can be a better example of the leader to lead it from the front than Lord Rama himself. As we have been discussing in the beginning, Lord Rama was a true leader and front-end fighter from his army. He was a supreme in deciding the strategies. He directed his team for meeting objectives. His team was happy to follow his orders. That's what from Ramayana we all have read. Lord Rama's leadership style was unique. We have never seen him dominating his team members. He was leading an army of monkeys, everyone unskilled. And those people, the monkeys, used to always look towards him for the direction. His army was fighting for a cause. Lord Rama showed the way to his team and directed them what to do in the tough time. So what I have learned from Rama, I'm not going much into detail of all persona of his personality, all aspect of his personality, but I found him, he was skilled warrior. So to be a leader, one must be skilled in certain area. He led team from the front, gave specific role and instructions to the people according to their capability. That is something very specific and something good I have liked about his leadership. He always guided and showed the way in difficulties. He motivated people to fight for a cause. Motivation was another factor which I found in his leadership. And he calmly handled the situation and took decision at right time. He respected and valued relationship. That is the best I have learned from his personality.
Okay.
According to me, leadership is not a position, but it's a responsibility. We often hear that leaders should be a role model. Leading from the front is leading by example. It is not expecting I say and you do it. A huge part of leaders' job is training, motivating, developing and empowering the team. Lead from front is effective when there is, change within the organization or if the team is new. This is what I feel. Because if the team is trained, they can themselves, take the lead. But in case when the team is new, or there is change in the organization, leading from front to work very effectively. Because if the leader takes a lead and he shows that he demonstrates that he takes up the charge, then the team members also are willing to follow the leader.
Correct.
So showing sometimes is easier than telling. When we lead from front, certain things are involved, which according to me, being willing to work hard and get actively engaged with the team at all level of organization. So we understand challenges and opportunities what our team members are facing. We must adapt to new ways of working by actively leading the change we are seeking to make.
So
We should not expect one rule for ourselves and other leaders and another rule for the team members. So there should be, same rules implied for everyone.
correct.
We should not ask our team members to do things that we wouldn't like to do.
Okay.
Then we should be willing to listen to the ideas of the people across the organization, take the ideas from everyone, and then freeze the final planning and go ahead with the implementation of it. We should seek ways to better understand the environment in which team members are working, so we can find the ways to best support and develop their contribution. So certain tips I would like to share with you all, which I have learned from my mentors during my journey as an educationist. Prioritization, focus, and being willing to take risk is a crucial decision, so that each day counts and progress towards long-term goals.
Correct.
It
Correct.
takes courage to step out in front. So one must be courageous. I can feel much safer and less risky to stay cocooned and be away from the action. So progress, however, is much harder to make when you play it safe. So one need to be ready to take the risk.
Lot of, in
Then
fact,
taking
lessons. Madam, in fact, lots of lessons you have put in. Seriously, it's been purely vertical. I must appreciate that. And while you were sharing those opinions, that was really fantastic. Especially, it's a value-based relationship. You have to have the trust building the team, and you came from the Lord Rama's point of view. Everything was fantastic. But if I further interact on this, how? I'm like, we should do this, we should do that. I understand. But sometimes, the problem happens with us is we fail in reacting. We fail in moving to, you're talking about perseverance, you're talking about determination, you're talking about warriorship, you're talking about time management, you're talking about risk, you're talking about a lot many things. But I'm like, how can we do that? That's the question. Anyway, you have really explained it fantastically. We'll come back to you in our deliberations. I was able to spot Dr. Chinu Agrawal. I would welcome her, that she's there. Dr. Chinu Agrawal. Okay. Hey, Manthan welcomes you, Dr. Chinu Agrawal. She appears to be occupied in some discussions. Anyway. Okay, we'll move on to our third speaker, Madam Leena Nair. And may I please request extend one request. I mean, like, Leena ji, I'm expecting something from you. That's why I'm extending it.
I do not know whether I will be able to, live up to your expectations. And I was hearing, am I audible?
Yeah. Very much.
Yeah. So I heard Archana madam, and with due respect to all Nagpal sir, you and Vijay ma'am and Hetal ma'am and Anita ma'am and everyone on board, Chinu madam also, you have been doing wonderful job. And with respect to Ram Navami and the virtues and the topic being very apt, today's topic. So, Nagpalji, you were saying that, how do we put this into practice? Yes, sir.
please allow me to forward my expectation. Dr. Chino is can listen me and reply as well. Dr. Chino, welcome. I'm like, we were missing you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so sorry to have joined late. My session got a little extended.
No issue. You've been there when the session started.
Thank you.
Okay. Issue is in our entire academic plethora, entire social structure. I mean, the terminology, the words, the messages, the information is available, isn't it? By sharing those informations every day, I mean, like we are talking about a student of class third, and you want to inculcate the leadership, or you want to make him lead from the front. So what is the expectation of that class third child from you? You know, very well have it been said by St. Stephens or Sam Maneksha, if I quote it again, that you give me a person with a reasonable sense and decency, I'll get you the leader. You know, so it is very clear that leaders can be made, leaders are not born. My assertion here from all the panelists is, I'm like, what we need to do, how we can take these terminologies forward, how can we produce the leaders? Otherwise, what will happen? See, small interjection. We've been having the leaders which were very high in moral values. Up to 6th century AD, India has produced remarkable leaders. You talk about Chanakya, you talk about Chandragupta, you talk about Harshvardhan, you talk about anyone else. Then after the 6th century AD, India started feeling the curse of envy. And what ultimately happened? Today, we people are confused in the smartness and the selfishness. We are confused into the benevolence and narcissism. So today, leader means, you know, so what kind of leaders the society has started producing? You ask a chap of 3rd standard, 4th standard, 5th standard, write 5 sentences on India's leaders. I mean, 1 sentence will be the corrupt. So my assertion from all the honorable speakers would remain is, what is to be done from our side? A child knows time management. A child knows taking risks. A child knows determination. A child knows perseverance. He's writing the speech. He's writing the essay and scoring 20 out of 20 marks, but it is not being implemented. Manthan expects us to really brainstorm what is needed to be done from our side so that we can really inculcate these values amongst the children. So dais is yours, Leena ji.
So here I would want to say that, you know, समस्या का समाधान इस बात पर निर्भर करता है कि हमारा सलाहकार कौन है. दुर्योधन के सलाहकार शकुनी थे और अर्जुन के कृष्ण थे. और हमें यह पता होना चाहिए कि आगे क्या हुआ. हमें पता है कि आगे क्या हुआ, right? So like you said, everything is there. We all know the terminologies, but we do not know how to go about it, or we would want to know how to bring out these qualities in students, right? That is what Nagpalji just mentioned. So here I would like to say that we all know about the qualities. Now, to bring in these qualities in students, I would say that let us delegate such kind of work to them, which would enable them to show their part of talent or whatever they have. In what ways are they capable of introducing their own inborn skill or talent. Let us pave way for them so that they are able to do something of their own desire, and where they feel that they are given as much importance as other students who are maybe very obvious in their capabilities. So that is, we as teachers or whoever is going to make this possible, will have to pave way for the students to show their talent, to bring their talents out, capabilities out, by giving them opportunities. It could be a debate, it could be a speech, it could be some outdoor activities. So give them activities, both indoor and outdoor activities, which will make them excel in their fields. This is one thing. Secondly, to build upon trust, like I mentioned earlier, naturally it has to be taught, because they have to learn that trust, building trust and being honest is our dharma. That doesn't mean that we pull them down when they do something wrong. We give them one chance, two chance, third chance. We have to penalize them for that. They should know that they cannot get away with everything and anything. So penalizing them at the right moment, guiding them at the right moment, and making them aware of the differences of what is right, what is wrong, that is the way they'll be able to lead others. So that is one thing which I would suggest here. And leading from the front or back or from anywhere, you need to have some followers who look up to you, look up to your actions also, right? You need to have some people who would go by what you say. Similarly, for these students also, they will have to have some, binding or kind of relationship with their peers, with the teachers, with the parents. So we have to help them build on that. They must start respecting their elders. How to do that? We can ourselves be role models for them. Make them listen to different, epic stories, or our history is such precious, and we have a very historious past and very, robust past, you can say that. So we can make them see, like, what are we doing at AIM Virtues? Somewhere down the line, including me, we had forgotten so many things in the rush to get everything that you want, maybe financially well off, or to become to aspirations, all these had laid us back. But now with these kind of platform, we are realizing that there is much more to life than what we expect. So what we have to be role models. That is one thing that I would want to put forth. Secondly, what I would like to say is that we have to be approachable. Any person who wants to lead has to be approachable. If you keep people at bay, you're not going to lead anyways, because they have to be walking with you, sharing your vision and working for a broader vision. It has to be a shared vision. So whatever, in any case, whatever we plan to do, be it in the house or in the school or in an organization also, it has to be a shared vision where everyone's values or points count. It is only then that you are able to lead, as well as make those people, help become leaders. So that is one thing.
Correct. I would put in small interjection again.
Yeah.
And this interjection is, how would you define the thin line in between Adolf Hitler and Mahatma Gandhi?
Okay, very good question there. Adolf Hitler had fire, but that fire was, dangerous one. Not the fire to do something good. It was a dangerous one. He had desires, but very bad at that. He wanted to hold everything, and he wanted to be the one-man army and do everything, But at the same time, yes.
Mahatma Gandhi also did. He had a great fire to hold people together.
Correct. But
everyone is right in their own perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
But with Mahatma Gandhi, he was, working selflessly for people also.
Exactly.
Yes. So he wanted, everyone to benefit. So that is why, he still lives in people's heart. Whereas Adolf Hitler is known for his personality and whatever he did. But if I would want to give an example of people whom I respect or look forward to, would be definitely Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
So
fantastic. Absolutely great. I mean, like, bullseye. I should always expect it from you. It was fantastic. And
yeah.
I intentionally mentioned these names, Adolf Hitler and Mahatma Gandhi. And the difference is Hema Foundation.
See, one thing to learn from Adolf Hitler was that he had that survival instinct in him. So that is what one can learn to survive in any kind of atmosphere or situation. Or he was a great risk taker.
I will reserve my opinions about learning anything from Adolf Hitler. But anyway, coming back to the main point, that it is Hema Foundation. What basic difference in them was, one was searching the power, searching unification, searching authority, searching leadership for him. Other words, finding the solutions for others. That was the only difference. It was fantastic.
Yes, being selfless is what Gandhiji. Yes. Okay, so I think that I have whatever I had to say regarding the qualities already Sunita ma'am and Achana ma'am had put forth. So I would not want to go any further. But then, he has to, vision is what I look forward to in a kind of person who want to lead from the front. Along with that honesty, he has to be approachable, and innovation. He has to have that innovative power in him or her, that I can do something which others cannot, and then I will be teaching them how to do that. lead by example perhaps.
Correct.
So
There are two examples. The Wright brothers were able to sustain with their inventions and they made the aircraft, and the
correct.
Wrong brothers were also sustaining with their innovations, but they could not make it success.
So one should know that is what is sustainable development goals. When one goes through that, right now also this webinar is for us, all of us, to understand how to lead from the front. But we have to keep it for the days to come. We'll have to implement it somewhere, whatever we have learned from this, shared from here.
Thank you so much. I had one message in the chat box, and Madam Sunita also helped us with that. That give them responsibility to the children.
Sir, one more thing I would like to add. Somewhere I'd read that values do play important role. Had Adolf Hitler's teachers taught him in the childhood? Somewhere I'd read he was interested in art a lot, drawing.
See, madam. Actually, we will focus on the Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was having a feeling of vengeance and the revenge from the day one. With those feelings, you might possess any quality, any attributes, any values.
Right.
It will not lead you to the right way. He might have been, he'd been teetotaler, he'd been very disciplined, he'd been very hardworking, he'd been so determined, he'd been so perseverant. But only thing, the basic, the root of his mind was revenge and the vengeance. And any brain which moves with revenge and vengeance will always lead to a catastrophe like World War II. All right, so I'll move on to our third speaker of today evening, Madam Sonal Satelkar. I welcome you, Madam Sonal Satelkar, for your opinions.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and greetings of the day. I will not really take much time because lot is already spoken, and it's always an advantage to be somebody who's speaking at the end, towards the end of the session. So a lot is already spoken.
A good quality of a leader who appreciates.
So if you ask me about leading from front, I would say basically demonstrating those leadership qualities that you preach. You say something and you do something else. You want your people, your team to do something. You want your students to do something, but you're not doing that. You want your people to be on time, but me as a managing secretary of the school, if I call for a school meeting of my teachers and my principals, and if I come late and then I expect them to be on time, I think that is something which is not acceptable. In the same breath, now when we are speaking about from a school context, when we are speaking about leading from front, it would be on two fronts again. It would be the one front would be for the staff, how is it that the management and the principal is leading, and the second front would be how are the teachers actually leading the students, how are they inculcating the qualities of leadership in the students, because everybody has to lead, if not others, their own lives. So these are the two things that prima facie I feel when we speak about leading from front in the school context comes. So like I said, whatever the leader is preaching, the leader should also walk that talk. Walking the talk is really, really important. How you speak in the class, what you wear in the class, what is your language, what is your tone, everything is absorbed by those young minds. And somewhere a teacher is a role model. So somewhere, all that is gone back in their memory, and that's how they are also molded. It's something that I feel. So sometimes, in my school, I'm just giving these anecdotes little bit because to explain. Sometimes in my school, I get requests from teachers, specifically lady teachers, that as is a Marathi medium government aided school, so wearing saris for the higher class is a compulsory thing. So we keep getting these things like let us not wear saris, this, that. But then it is about how you actually have appropriately you are really dressed for the class, so that people are taking that message. Now when I'm telling my teachers that you should be dressed in a particular manner, and I go to the school wearing something like a jeans and a trouser, how am I leading? And why would my teachers want to follow me? So I feel, walk the talk is something that is really, really essential. One another very small example I will give you. We all keep speaking, specifically in the school scenario. I've always seen, that the principal wants all the academic sessions to happen and everything. But most of the times, when I go to school, I see some of my staff is sitting with the principals, whatever it is, they must be doing their administrative work. I don't want to, it is not about degrading or disrespecting or disregarding someone here, but these are small things that we should be mindful about. And the classes going all without the teacher. So what are we actually doing when we are saying that, we want this to happen, that to happen? I think we should take the responsibility. We should own responsibility. And when we do that, I think that is leading from front, according to you.
A small question, ma'am.
I'm sure it is difficult.
Not at all. Somewhere after reading a lot of leaders, in fact, I read a book that talks about somewhere around 200 leaders' everyday routines and their life about. And I did a research on myself. So the common thing which every leader has come out with was that ability to digest the insults is one of the very important.
Ability to digest? I didn't get you, sir. Ability to digest?
The insults.
Insults.
You might come with your opinion, suggestions, and still your suggestions are not being received well heartedly by people. How to deal with that?
Yes.
Because what happens, our children do really get distracted immediately when somebody disapproves them.
Yeah, true. Whereas
a leader has to prove this, that despite of adversities, I can sustain. That's a leader.
Yes. So I think, having a coaching quality in all the teachers is also important. So when we speak about a coach, basically what is it that a coach does? Asks questions. So rather than, disregarding or rather than just discarding the child's statement, ask him a question to counter that. Perhaps he realizes that is not what it should have been.
You mean role modeling and the trainings? These are the two things.
Trainings, yeah. Coaching more from that perspective. So I think that is something that I had to say about this. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And now I have Madam Vaishali Chevale. May I please invite her to have her opinions?
Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
100%.
Yeah. Good evening to all, and namaste and happy Ram Navami. Now, it is always said that one may be born as a leader, but we need to acquire the leadership skills, sir. And we always need to develop. And by certain we have to earn it over times. Now, leading from front, we can say that it is always demonstrating a leadership. Many times it is always, or I as a principal, I always see that I would like to demonstrate and I would like to show difficult things and how it can be made easy to the students and to the teachers, so that I show that confidence I develop that confidence among my team. So what I would like to say is that showing and demonstrating is sometimes easier, or it is easier rather than telling. Now, as I come from a science background, so always I would like to experiment. I would always like to demonstrate. So my class will be always active with the science experimentation. Also, I always like, before telling, I would always like to demonstrate the things and experiment. Now, leading from the front, I would always say that we should not be we should be a leaders. We should not be the boss in the school. That is what I feel many times. Now, as a leader, you have to be in front in all the process, in your areas of responsibility, and you have to maintain your perspectives. Your goal should be successful. And when you see everything happening successfully, and you see that things are moving in a concrete way, that happiness will be leading in the front. And that happiness will not be shared only with you. It should be shared with all your organization, your management, your teachers, who are the front face of your school. So I feel that leading from the front, we as a principal need to be engaged with a lot of work. We need to be engaged with a lot of responsibility. We need to be engaged as an administrative. We need to be engaged as a pedagogical researcher, as a leaders. And I mean to that, as I would like to do all the time, I would like with my team and with my students as well as with my institution, I like to be loyal when I am leading in the front.
Okay.
That loyalty is the best part which I want to give to my institution, to my teachers. And I would also add that, see, as a principal or as a leader, you always have to be innovative. When you try to do innovative things, there may be success, there may be failures also. You may get result, you may not get result. It is always like an experimentation. And you always, but that doesn't mean that you always try to find out solution. You always try to find out result, and always try to solve the problems. And you have to take along with your team. There should be a proper coordination among with your teachers, your students, your parents, your whoever is associated with your school environment. So I feel, so what do I feel is that leading from the front is not a one personality. It should be a overall taking the school and the overall all the people who are involved in managing the school environment. That is like, and you should also be organized. You should also be a good planner. You should always have that communication very powerfully, and you should have a broad vision. Your goals should be set for all the things. That is what I would like to conclude, sir. That leading from the front, it can be like leading to a perfectionist. It can be perfectionist to the teacher, even to the student, and even for your organization also. That is all I would add, sir. And I would congratulate the HEMA Foundation for being bringing out so many new innovative things in all your projects, and giving me an opportunity today. It was a wonderful opportunity, sir. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you as well, though you had introduced a little contradiction. Earlier speakers have said there should have been flexibility. You are saying there should have been perfectionism. Anyway, we'll conclude it later. But
because sir, I feel is, see, we also try to learn so many things. Each day for me is a learning process when you are in the field of education, and you never learn it at a glance, but you always try to be perfect. When you are reaching to an end of a perfect, then that happiness, what a student get, what a teacher will get, what a principal will get, what an organization will get, that will be a great feeling, sir. That is what I feel.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anyway, आज भगवान राम का दिवस है. हम राम की धरती से आते हैं. भगवान राम के चरित्र को जब पढ़ते हैं या उनको जब कभी देखते सुनते हैं तो बस एक ही चीज, मर्यादा, माने वैल्यूज. मैं जो अब डेलिब्रेशंस के लिए इट इज एन ओपन फॉर एनीबॉडी एल्स. मेरा जो पॉइंट है या मेरा जो क्वेश्चन है, हाउ मच वैल्यूज आर इम्पोर्टेंट टू बिकम अ सक्सेसफुल लीडर इन 21st century. This is very, very important, and my channel, the discussion is open. Anybody can chime in, and please have their opinion.
Say something, Dr. Nagpal.
Dr. Vijay, please.
Panelists are there. Let them speak. Let them speak. Let the panelists speak.
Okay, Leena ji, how much values are important for a leader in how we can lead from the front, keeping the values in our life as a role model in 21st century? Straight.
I would say that I would not say it. I would not call it a value. Decision making is also a value. I would say that to lead from the front, one should have the capability to change the conditions. Do not take it as they exist. But
Leela ji, little distraction. My point is very specific. Moral courage.
Yes.
My point is how much moral courage is important in 21st century to become a successful leader. That is my statement.
To the highest point that one can achieve, or one can imbibe.
Yes. So what should we, do you agree with it? Is it possible in 21st century that with all your moral values, you'll be able to sustain and have the 21st century leadership?
One can always have a blend of both. Why not? Why should we compromise?
I'm taking your statement as in, DIPLOMATIC.
No. Why should we? No. What I mean to say here is that if it is not affecting people to a large extent, maybe to some extent. I mean, if it doesn't affect people at large, then there is a scope of compromising on, I don't know, maybe some particular values. But so far, how if it is possible, do not compromise on values. Why should we compromise on values?
Correct. If it is possible, then you should not compromise. If it is not possible, then you can compromise also. Is that what you are going to say?
It should not be affecting people, like sometimes if it's for example, if I have to lie to make the person feel better, then that would not be called as, not saying the truth or not being honest.
कृष्णा की बात करने लगे, हम राम से कृष्णा में चले गए. चलिए, थैंक यू सो मच. मैं डॉक्टर रवि विजयम के पास में आता हूँ.
Yes, Ram se Krishna mein chale gaye. You got that point, correct. So whatever he did, he was very, I must say, very calculative, or very, he made Arjun do all that, which may not be, which may be against his virtues that he had, the values that he had, but he made him do all that.
Point of discussions always. Dr. Vijayam.
Thank you, Doctor. I wanted to say something about my doctoral thesis in philosophy, which I did, wherein I had made a mathematical equation in philosophy on leadership. It was on leadership, and the topic was on 21st century leadership.
Okay.
What are the facts which we learn from philosophy? Okay. And the equation is simple. Leadership is equal to an integral function. An integral function of the personality and environment, and the limits of the integral value is 0 to 1.
Okay.
This is the equation I framed in philosophy, wherein the personality is comprising 4 major values.
Okay.
And because we are talking about 21st century leadership, okay? And what we learn from philosophy, be it Rama or Krishna or all the Shad Darshanas. One is the personal value, second is the social value, third is the organizational value, fourth is the philosophical value.
Okay.
So all these 4 make the persona, the personality of the leader, and on top of it, the environment also has an influence on the personality.
So probability of adaptability is there.
Exactly. The first speaker was, the keynote speaker was mentioning about the situational leadership.
Correct.
He spoke really well, in the sense that she mentioned that situation makes you take a decision which is appropriate at that moment for the organization. It may not be suitable for the person.
Okay.
But it may be suitable for the organization. Like if you take Rama, you have the Sadharana Dharma, Vishesha Dharma. Many of us may not accept his behavior at certain point in time, but he has done it based on one thing I would like to say. Second point is that leading from behind is something which I believe in.
Yes.
Leading from behind is something which is required for the 21st century. And unfortunately, Doctor, it doesn't happen in our schools. If a principal or a director sits in a chair, that chair will remain till they become 75.
Okay.
They do not intend to create a second line of leadership. Empowerment is something which we have to teach.
मार्गदर्शक मंडल वाली बात कर रहे हैं आप.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay. And so fine. So these are the opinions which I have. Which, in fact, if I have to infer it in my opinion, I mean, like we are trying to say that moral courage is really, really important. But 21st century can produce certain situations where you need to have a little flexibility over it. Anyway, I disagree, but this everybody has come up with. I'm having our creative director, Madam Anita Maheshwari, and I would request her to come up with her conclusive note of today's webinar, Leading from the Front.
थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर नागपाल। और जैसा कि आज रामनवमी है और हमारे बहुत सारे पैनलिस्ट ने आज बात भी की भगवान राम की। लीडिंग फ्रॉम द फ्रंट, भगवान श्री राम से अच्छा कोई एग्जाम्पल हो ही नहीं सकता। चाहे उन्होंने सुग्रीव को बाली से लड़ने का साहस दिया हो, एक नन्ही सी गिलहरी को श्री राम सेतु बनाने के लिए प्रेरित किया हो, एक उन्होंने कुशल नेतृत्व प्रदान किया। एक राजा की तरह वो रथ में नहीं बैठे, परंतु उन्होंने युद्ध भूमि में अपने अस्त्र और शस्त्र के साथ उतरे। हम जो विवेक, धैर्य और साहस अपनी टीम से अपेक्षित रखते हैं, उससे पहले हमें पहले उन वैल्यूज को खुद को निभाना होता है, वैसा ही जैसा श्री राम ने किया। यानी कि लीडरशिप के लिए 3 चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है: नम्रता, स्पष्टता और साहस। लीडर जो है, लीडरशिप इज अ एक्शन एंड नॉट द पोजीशन। हम क्या कार्य कर रहे हैं, कैसे कर रहे हैं, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है। किस पोजीशन पे है ये इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है। एक छोटी सी कविता के साथ मैं अपनी बात को खत्म करूंगी कि आगे बढ़ना है जिंदगी में, आगे बढ़ना है जिंदगी में तो अड़िग होकर चलो, किस्मत को ठोकर मारकर दुनिया से हटकर चलो। परिपाटी पर तो सभी चलते आए हैं, कुछ करना है जिंदगी में तो इतिहास को पलट कर चलो। बिना काम के मुकाम कैसा और बिना मेहनत के दाम कैसा। जब तक पहुंचा न सको मंजिल तक, तब तक रास्ते में आराम कैसा।
क्या बात है।
अर्जुन जैसा निशाना रखो, मन में ना कोई बहाना रखो। लक्ष्य सामने है, उसी में अपना ठिकाना रखो। सोचो मत, साकार करो, अपने कर्मों से तुम प्यार करो। निश्चय ही मिलेगा मेहनत का फल, किसी ना किसी का इंतजार करो। जो राह में अकेले चले थे, आज उनके पीछे मेले हैं, और जो करते रहते हैं किस्मत का इंतजार, उनकी जिंदगी में आज भी झमेले हैं। सो हमेशा लीडर बनिए, नेतृत्व करिए। धन्यवाद।
फैंटास्टिक, एक्सीलेंट, एज एक्सपेक्टेड। और बहुत दिनों बाद से कविता भी सुनने को मिल गई, ये भी बहुत अच्छा हुआ। सभी ने जो बात आज करी है, रियली
डॉक्टर नागपाल, एक आज कमी थी, मैं बहुत चीनू मैम को मिस कर रही हूँ। जब लीडरशिप की बात आ रही है तो मुझे लगता है कि कुछ वर्ड्स चीनू मैम को भी कहना चाहिए।
जी, जो विजय मैम ने बात बोली ना, लीडिंग फ्रॉम बिहाइंड, उस पे मुझे एक बात बोलनी है। Sometimes we feel that leaders should have the final word, but actually the leader is the one who has the last, who listens and gets influenced by others. So leaders are not always influencers. For example, एक बड़ी सी इंडस्ट्री का मालिक है और उसको 100 करोड़ रुपए कहीं लगाने हैं, लेटर से कहीं से आ गए 100 करोड़ रुपए। वो अपनी बोर्ड की मीटिंग बुलाता है, कहते हैं कि भाई बताओ, रिसर्च वाले बताओ कहाँ लगाएं, सेल्स वाले बताओ, मार्केटिंग वाले बताओ, प्रोडक्शन वाले बताओ, क्या करे, 100 करोड़ रुपए का कौन सा प्लांट लगाए। तो एक बोलता है, रिसर्च वाला बोल देता है कि भाई पानी का लगा लो, क्योंकि रिसर्च का फॉर्मूला तैयार है पानी का। तो मार्केटिंग वाला बोलता है कि भाई वो तो ठीक है, पर पानी तो ऑलरेडी इतना बिक रहा है मार्केट में। सेल्स वाला बोलता है उसको प्रॉफिटेबल कैसे करेंगे प्लांट को। अब ये सब डिस्कशन में लीडर क्या कर रहा है?
करेक्ट, एब्सोल्युटली।
लीडर इज सिटिंग एंड लिसनिंग।
करेक्ट।
और वो इस विचार मंथन में ultimately when he decides to get influenced by what they are saying before coming to a decision. Otherwise, he could have directly said कि ये लो 100 करोड़ रुपए लो, ये प्लांट लगा दो. अरे सर बेचेंगे कैसे? वो तुम्हारी दिक्कत थोड़ी है, मेरा पैसा है, मैं बता रहा हूँ, जैसा मैं कह रहा हूँ वैसा करो. So लीडरशिप को हम लोग इस तरह से मिसअंडरस्टैंड कर लेते हैं. For example, in school scenario, when Vijay ma'am said leading from behind, a principal sitting on the chair, Anita ji ne bhi bola ki it is not the position, it is the action that you are taking. When something happens and a principal calls a meeting for brainstorming, invites suggestions, invites people to say what they have to say, is accessible, is inviting for other people, is a safe place for people to come and talk, then that person is leading. But I have seen principals personally. देहरादून में एक बार एक प्रिंसिपल से मैं मिलने गई थी. उनका जो ऑफिस था वो मुझे लगता है, कैसे बताऊं आप लोगों को, कितना बड़ा था. एक होटल की लॉबी जितना ऑफिस था. उसमें वो प्रिंसिपल इतनी सी लग रही थी बैठी हुई. और हम लोग जब एंटर किए तो इतने बड़े ऑफिस में एंटर करने में हमारे पैर कांपने लगे. एंड देन व्हेन वी वेंट इन फ्रंट ऑफ हर, शी लुक्स एट अस लाइक दिस, नीचे से लेके पूरा ऊपर तक. एंड देन शी सेज, यस. If a person like this sits in the principal's chair, can you imagine कौन जाएगा उस principal के पास अपनी बात बोलने के लिए? Who is running that school? I really don't know. So when you talk about leadership, it is actually not leading from the front, but leading from behind. So I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, excellent. I should say the 4 runs were required on the last ball and 6 was hit. Okay, so I have got a wonderful message in the chat box, and the person is Madam Gangotri. Beautiful name also. I think rather than taking as an insult, we should take it as a different opinion, and that would definitely develop our horizons as a leader. I agree. I feel that teaching them value-based decision making, and being assertive and take charge what they think is right from early stages would help. I may agree with it, but point first, I certainly agree. Really agree. And that is the only vision the Hema Foundation is moving on with. It was an excellent session. There had been a lot of
डॉक्टर नागपाल, आपकी मॉरल करेज की बात पे भी मुझे कुछ बोलना था, मुझे तब याद नहीं आया. See, to practice values, you will always need courage.
You will always need courage.
You will always need courage. Without courage, no value can be practiced at all.
Correct.
आपका मैनेजमेंट आपको बोलता है कि भाई फीस कलेक्ट करो, रिकवरी करो. आपके पेरेंट्स आपको कुछ बोलते हैं, आपके टीचर्स आपको कुछ बोलते हैं, आपके स्टूडेंट्स का हाल कुछ और है. उस स्थिति में डिसीजन लेना, वैल्यू बेस्ड डिसीजन लेना बिना करेज के पॉसिबल ही नहीं.
Not at all.
So this question becomes a compulsion that to be able to lead with values, you will need courage. That is primary. अगर कोई आप इमेजिन करके देखो, कोई स्पाइनलेस बंदा अगर लीडरशिप की पोजीशन पे बैठ जाए किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, चाहे वो स्कूल हो चाहे कहीं भी हो, तो क्या होगा? सबकी हाँ में हाँ मिलाएगा, बेड़ा गर्क करके रख देगा. सो करेज के बिना तो वैल्यू बेस्ड लीडरशिप हो ही नहीं सकती.
Mahatma Gandhi ji had quoted a very strong quote, which is not in the public domain. He had said that fearfulness is the first requisite of spirituality. Cowards can never be moral. कितना बड़ा statement है. Cowards can never be moral. You need to have the courage to stay.
वेरी ट्रू। और मैंने भी यही सेम 3 चीजें कही थी कि लीडरशिप में 3 क्वालिटी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। एक नम्रता, सबसे पहली जो चीज है कि उससे बहुत पोलाइट होना चाहिए। सेकंड है स्पष्टता, वो बहुत क्लियरली ट्रांसपेरेंटली अपनी बात रखने में सक्षम हो स्पष्ट रूप से। और तीसरा जो सबसे बड़ा था वो था साहस। अगर ये 3 चीजें हैं तो ही वो लीडर बन सकता है, नहीं तो नहीं बन सकता।
Absolutely yes, absolutely yes. I'm delighted to moderate such a beautiful, wonderful and such a great show. And I believe tomorrow onwards at least we should be carrying some or other informations whatever we have deliberated today on the same Manthan. और हम आने वाले दिनों में इस समाज के अंदर, इस राष्ट्र में, हमारे कॉलोनी में, हमारे परिवार में we will be producing or will be influencing with getting ourselves influenced people who will lead from the front. I am delighted. Emma Foundation, Manthan is really gratified by having the presence of all the audience and everybody who contributed in terms of speaking. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next session of ours will be the importance of outdoor activities. Are we really expecting in Corona? But anyway, it is very important. Next session of ours is importance of outdoor activities. It will be moderated by our Amma. I have corrected Anitaji.
Yes.
Dr. Bejiam Ravi, and the keynote speaker for that is Mrs. Mala Lohani. Please, this session is going to be very wonderful. I request you all to be part of it and help our society go further, move further with determination, courage, and lead from the front. Thank you so much.
अगले बुधवार समय ठीक 5 बजे से फिर मिलेंगे।
Sure. वो आप बोलती हैं मस्त रहिए, स्वस्थ रहिए और क्या कहते हैं?
व्यस्त रहिए।
वंदे मातरम की तरफ हम आगे। एक बार फिर से रामनवमी की आपको ढेर शुभकामनाएं। स्वस्थ रहिए, कोरोना में अपना ख्याल रखिए। थैंक यू सो मच।